In this video, I'm not going to write the program in Visual Studio. I'm just going to talk you through the lecture slides that we used in class. So, as a programmer, one should also be able to look at existing code and understand what it does. So, we're just going to do an exercise where we look at a simple program and try and figure out what it does. Okay, so we can see that this event handler is a buttons click event and it calculates something. Okay, we can also see there are 3 double variables and another 4th double variable for the output. Then there's a numeric up down called in1 and a numeric up down called in2, and we take their values and we store them in input 1 and input 2. Then we have a numeric up down which holds a price. Okay, so we have 3 input values. All 3 come from numeric up downs. Then we do a calculation, which is just multiplying the 2 inputs and then multiplying that by price. And then finally we display a cost in a message box. So how can we try and make sense of this? The best way is to try and play computer. Take some random input values and see what comes out. In order to do that, we have to understand how variables are placed into memory and how they change when new assignment statements appear in the program. So you can think of memory as a kind of a filing cabinet with a few drawers, and each variable has its own drawer in this filing cabinet. So here, when we declare the variables, the new space in memory is allocated for each of those variables. Suppose our numeric up down 1 and numeric up down 2 each contains the value 10. So what will happen is when we get to this assignment statement, the numeric up down value of 10 will be stored in input 1. Numeric up down 2's value will be stored in input 2 in memory. And numeric up down price, its value will be stored in the price memory slot. In other words, in the price variable. Okay, so then when we get to the calculation part, on the right hand side we now have input 1 times input 2. So now those values are taken out of memory, okay, and used here to do the calculation. Price is taken out of memory to do the calculation. And then once this is calculated, the answer is then assigned to output, which means that value goes into the output slot in memory. Okay. When we build up the string for the message box, again the variable output is used here, so that variable's value will be retrieved from memory and then it will be converted into a string and added to the output string. So what does this program do? It's still not completely clear. We know that it takes 3 input values, one of which is a price, but we don't know what the other 2 input values are. And then it calculates a cost, which we can gather from the output string here. The cost is, it calculates a cost by multiplying the 2 input values, firstly with each other and then with price. So although we can say what the output will be, we still don't know what the purpose of the program is. The variable names that we used in the program before were very generic, like output 1, output 2, so not really meaningful. So by changing those variables to giving them meaningful names, we can make the purpose of the program very clear. So here we've done exactly that. So instead of input 1 and input 2, we have the variables width and length, and then price per square meter. And then the output is changed to cost. Okay, so the logic is exactly the same. We've only changed the variable names to sort of give us an idea of what the content of that variable will be. So width will obviously contain the width of something. It might be a room, or it might be a floor. Length will be the length of something, and we assume that it will be in meters because we have a price per square meter. So if we multiply width by length, as we do here in the calculation, we will get the square meters, and then calculating it by the price, we will have the cost per square meter. So what we illustrate here is how important it is to use meaningful names for your variables and controls, so that when you look at the program, it's easy to see what it does. In this exercise, we deliberately did not show you the layout of the form when we looked at the code in order to understand the code, because obviously looking at this form will also tell you immediately what the program does. But the point of this exercise was to just look at program code and then work out what the output will be or what the program does.